Hey everybody, Paul Vaillancourt here, back with day 25. I know I said yesterday was day 25, but today is actually day 25 of the 30 Pitches in 30 Days project. It's going great. I'm very excited. I'm in the home stretch. There's only, after today, 5 more ideas. I can't believe it. It's been really great. I can't really wait to get to the end, take a day off, and then sum it all up, and I think I've learned a ton. But I want to get through all this and then I'll reflect back on it. So today's idea is really something interesting and something different. I think so. I'll tell you sort of how I started. So I was thinking about what to do, and I sort of shuffled through the cards, and I sort of saw a few different combinations, but I kept sort of coming back to, in fact, these cards. So I saw this card, The Mummy Returns. And I saw this card, Ocean's 12. And then I went a little bit further, and then I saw this card, The Mummy. And then I saw this card, Ocean's 11. So those cards in such proximity to each other made me think, hey, maybe this is something that I should be thinking about. So I did. I stopped on those 4 cards, sort of like 2 sets of 2 cards. And I thought about it for a little bit, and I came up with this pitch. I'll call it simply The Heist. And it is basically a heist picture with a supernatural twist. It's a heist picture with a supernatural twist. It goes a little bit something like this. We open on a city street, a bustling, busy city street, and people sort of going, back and forth, going about their days. And we see sort of Nick, our guy, coming through the crowd. He sort of moves sort of counter to the flow of the crowd, but very easily and skillfully through them. He's blonde and blue-eyed, handsome, ruggedly handsome, and just charming as all get out. He's like sort of winking and flirting with women as he passes them, and then finally he like lightly taps into a woman and stop. They stop and look at each other. He apologizes, and they sort of strike up a little bit of conversation, flirty conversation, and he's the kind of guy that's like charming and not too aggressive, and she's sort of interested, and they're sort of talking back and forth. He's like, well, can I have your number? And he pulls out his phone, but it's not his phone, it's her phone. She's like, oh my God. She thinks it's kind of fun and amusing or whatever, that maybe he's a magician or something, and they sort of joke a little bit more. He gives her phone back, he takes her number, and then he walks away. And as she walks away with her friend and he walks away, we see him pull out her wallet and take all the money out of her wallet. He's not a magician at all. He's a pickpocket. He's a thief by trade. But he's not a bad guy. He takes the money and he goes to the shop where he just saw that woman come out of, and he gives the wallet, credit cards and license and all that aggravating stuff back to the clerk and asks him to return it to whoever it belongs to, right? We see that Nick is a thief by trade, and not just a thief, but he's sort of made it into a career. He treats it like a business. He is a professional. Right? Handsome, charming, professional about what he does. He even has like a little office where he goes now. And he goes there, and then throughout the day, people are coming in. He's working, people are coming in, and he's paying out people for various jobs that they have done together. He's giving them their cut. It's very professional sort of things, all different kinds of people coming in and out, until finally one guy comes in, takes his cut, but he doesn't leave immediately. Mostly they come in, get their money, and leave immediately, but not this guy. He stays there for a second. Nick's like, yeah, you need something else? He thinks that it's going to be maybe, that the guy wants more money or thinks he deserves more something. But the guy's like, look, I have a job for you, or I sort of know something that you might be interested in. And immediately Nick is like, no way. I only plan my own jobs. I don't do contract work. And the guy, he pulls out a stack of money and puts it on Nick's desk. And he's like, look, I know someone who's interested in hiring you to do something. Here's a stack of money. Just go meet the guy. Just go meet the guy, and the money's yours. You don't have to take the job. Just go meet him. Nick looks at it. It's a pretty good thick stack. He's like, okay, I'll take the rest of the afternoon off. I'll go meet this guy. We cut to the exterior of a big mansion outside the city. We see Nick pull up, and he knocks on the door, and a secretary type guy answers and shows Nick inside into a study where he meets an old man, a very old man. And as soon as they meet, Nick's like, look, man, I met you. I got your money. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't even want to hear any more about it. I'm out. And the old man says, all right, well, look, that's fine. You don't have to take the job. At least you took the money, at least give me the courtesy of hearing me out. And Nick's like, fine, I just want you to know I'm not going to take this job. And the guy's like, that's fine. I just want to say the whole thing out loud. And so he does. He goes on to, and he's trying to, along the way, sort of ply Nick with like alcohol and food and cigars. And Nick is really not interested in any of that. He doesn't really know this guy. And so he's kind of like playing it a little bit safe, kind of demurring, but he's willing to sit and listen to the guy. So the guy basically goes on to explain that what he wants Nick to do is there's a painting hanging in a museum in the city. It's not a super valuable painting. Valuable, but not super valuable. It's in a museum after all. But it has sentimental value to him, and that's what he wants back, is this painting. And he's like, look, I know that you only do your own job, so this would be your own job, you know? The guy says, look, the painting has sentimental value to me. And Nick says, you know what has sentimental value to me? Being my own boss and doing my own jobs. And then the guy says, that's it. This would be your own job. Your crew, your timeline, your way of doing it. All I want is the painting at the end, and for that, I'll pay you $10 million. $10 million, that's a lot of money. You know, Nick's he's a professional thief, but that's, you know, sort of a sketchy profession. There's a lot of overhead when you're a professional. There's a lot of chances you're taking. The fewer jobs, the better. He's moved up from being a street-level pickpocket, which we saw earlier in the movie, to now he's like putting together crews and doing these bigger heists, these bigger jobs, and this is a big one, maybe the biggest one that he's ever done. So he's taken it back, and he thinks about it for a minute, and he says, all my own way, my own people, my own timetable, I'll do it. And the guy says, yes, you pick it, you do it, just I want the painting at the end. Nick says, okay, I'll do it. Now we go on to some really great regular heist type stuff where we see Nick meeting and putting together his team. He ends up pulling in 2 other guys and 2 women. One guy is a computer guy. One guy is an expert in security systems. One woman is a weapons expert, and one woman is a cat burglar. And so that's all the things that they bring to the puzzle. Nick is the sort of project manager and quality control. He sort of pulls it all together. As we sort of go into Act 2, we see this team in different sort of aspects, in 2s and 3s and singles, sort of casing out the museum, looking at the painting, checking out different aspects of the security operation there, going to building codes and all this kind of stuff. So everything you would see in a heist movie, we see in this movie, of these people sort of really figuring out how to steal this painting. Basically, the plan comes down to this. The computer guy has a way that he's going to disable the security systems by making it reboot. Right? And so the whole building basically is going to reboot. They have like 20 minutes where there's going to be no security systems online. They're all going to be rebooting. But at the end of that reboot, it goes into automatic lockdown until the next morning. So they have 20 minutes to get in, get the painting, get out, or they're locked in the museum overnight. So that's their plan. They sort of work it all out. That's plenty of time. They know exactly where their entrance is. They know where the painting is. They are going to be able to do this, no problem. They all feel pretty confident about it. And so the night comes. And they do it. They get in, the security systems are down, everything's rebooting. They get in, they get to the painting. They avoid all the sort of necessary guards and whatever to get to the painting, and they're there. They're just about to grab the painting when all of a sudden the guy who's in charge of security systems breaks ranks. He goes totally off the reservation. He goes the opposite way, and he starts heading for another exhibit, the Egyptian wing. And all of a sudden they're like, what are you doing? What's going on? What are you doing? And this guy's like, I'm not here for that. And so he makes a beeline for the Egyptian wing, and they all follow him furious because he's totally upsetting their timetable. He's totally upsetting all this sort of fine tuning that they've done on this mission. And now he's totally gone amok, and he's over in the Egyptian area. Once he gets there, as they're sort of pulling up, he gets there, he smashes open a case and pulls out a giant ankh, which is sort of like a cross with a little loop at the top. It's a Egyptian symbol of power. He pulls it out and he holds it aloft. And he says, whoever holds this holds the ultimate power over the mummy. And then he pricks his finger and puts some blood on a sarcophagus nearby. That is enough to set things in motion. The lid of the sarcophagus the heavy stone lid slides off, and the mummy comes back to life. The dressings are coming off. We see underneath is a mummified sort of person who's starting to gain power and starting to sort of come back to life. And this guy holds the Ankh aloft. He says, "I hold ultimate power over you. Obey me." And the mummy comes towards him, but then grabs him by the throat and chokes him and pulls him up close to his face, so they're face to face, nose to nose, and the mummy like basically inhales the life essence of this guy. He has gotten bad information. He has been misinformed. This mummy is not controlled by this Ankh. The mummy strangles him, takes the Ankh, and puts it sort of in his belt, almost like you would put a gun or a sword. It's now part of him. And the life essence has now sort of reinvigorated him, and we see this strong Egyptian pharaoh now alive again, and he is coming after Nick and his remaining people. Another guy, Nick, the computer guy, the weapons girl, and the cat burglar girl, and he's coming after them. And this guy that he's killed now becomes reanimated as a soldier of the mummy. So now it's 2 against 4. And as it rolls along, the mummy and this other guy are picking off Nick's team one by one, and the odds are changing. 2 against 4. 3 against 3, 4 against 2, until finally they kill the last person who's not Nick, and it's Nick alone. And he's all these people have gotten killed, and he knows that pretty soon, you know, they're locked in, and sort of like it's sort of like a pressure chamber because they're all locked in. It's taken longer than 20 minutes. Obviously, they weren't able to get to an escape route, and now they're all locked in there until the morning. But when the morning comes, the doors are going to open, and this thing is going to be free in the world. And Nick knows that he's at least partially responsible. So he eventually gathers himself up and decides to make a stand in the medieval weapons part of the museum. He goes there, leads the mummy there on a chase until finally they're in there, and Nick has a bunch of guns and medieval weapons. All the way along, they've been using all the weapons they have, guns and knives and everything, and they've been useless. And he's hoping that one of these weapons might be the thing that turns the tide for him. Eventually, the mummy catches him and then corners him and grabs him, as he's done every single one of these people along the way, and holds him up by his throat, ready, eye to eye, to suck the life force out of Nick. But before he does that, they talk for just a moment, and Nick says that he's figured it out. That the ultimate power over this mummy isn't the power of control, it's the power of life and death. And he now, as the mummy's pulled him close, Nick has used his pickpocketing skills to draw the Ankh from the mummy's belt and stabs him through the heart and kills him, destroying the mummy again, killing him again. And all the soldiers, the remaining soldiers, they all die as well. And it's just like a total like death place in there. All these people are dead from various causes. But Nick is alive and holding the Ankh. He's locked in there till morning. Right? We see him sort of with these bodies around him, and in the morning the museum reopens. The doors slide up, the doors unlock, and people start coming in, and we see Nick hiding somewhere in the museum, and just as people are coming in, he stealthily moves out and bumps somebody and pickpockets a little an ID card, allows him to slip out and back into the world. And as he merges into a flow of people, he's done. He's alive. He survived the night. That's it. That's day 25. That's The Heist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.